You're listening to the RAD Podcast. Explore wealth.
Different model, a different way of doing business. Parts of the country 24/7, 7 days a week. I was just done with the gurus. If somebody gives me $30,000 to $50,000, that should be a lifetime relationship for Podcast Nation. Because if you give me that kind of money, I have an obligation, in my opinion, a responsibility to see you succeed.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We're Facebook Live. Dave Seymour came
guy.
to see me with this flipping guy, that flipping guy, that freaking guy. So, real estate's fun. And one of the things I realized by having Dave around the last few days as we've been collaborating and working on building businesses is he's enjoying this thing. And he's enjoying the heck out of it. And I think so many people, you know, when you think about, you're thinking about doing something more, you're thinking about building something more, you're thinking about creating something more, you start to take stuff so freaking serious.
Sure.
And then you start to, you know, really try to, and the reality is life's not that hard. And it's not that serious unless you make it is. So I don't know what you think, Dave, but I think it's a great topic for today because people are so freaking serious.
So here's the deal for me, and we've had these discussions hundreds of times over the years, right? Trading time for money can be a huge chore, right? Somebody else is always in control. Somebody else is setting the calendar, the time, the just structure. And you and I both spent a lot of time over the years focusing on how can we do what we want to do, enjoy what we're doing, more importantly, and then reap the rewards of it afterwards. And for both of us, no matter what our strategies have been over the years to make money, we've always been able to have fun and do it. And I just posted, actually, on Facebook, I was talking with a guy, and I said to him, if it ain't fun, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I've had enough misery. I've had enough of other people telling me what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And that's the freedom of this stuff. So we can build a business. We can talk strategy in real estate. Doesn't matter whether we're East Coast, West Coast, right? It's the same strategies. It's just running the numbers a little bit different each time, and then getting it done. And it's an absolute blessing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember I was on the pursuit of money for a while. You know, growing up the way I grew up, you know, rough. You know, just didn't have money. Didn't have two nickels to rub together, and I just got to a place where I thought money was the answer. I thought it was a solution to everything. And all money is it just increases who you are.
That's right.
It's an energy source.
That's right.
And you can use it, and it should work for you. And so many people spend their lives working to get money, working for money almost being their demon, right?
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I made money, I remember I was driving in my car, and I had a $40,000 check sitting in the glove box. And I'm thinking of not the glove box, the center console.
Sure.
And I'm thinking to myself, this is my brand new car. I'm driving home to my attractive, very hot girlfriend, who's pissed at me, right, for coming home late. And I'm like, I'm unhappy. I'm just super unhappy.
Sure.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, this was supposed to be the freaking answer.
Right.
This was supposed to be the flipping answer.
Right.
And money has allowed me to live an incredible life. Anybody who says you don't live a better life with money just never had any money.
Sure.
I mean, it's just
Here's the other
like
one,
one
right?
of those
They
cutesy things.
They always say money can't buy you happiness. That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's a lie. You can do some really cool things when you've got some cash coming in. We were talking to your main guy there, Mike, who was doing all the video work with us yesterday, and I could see immediately, right? Money isn't the end game. It's enjoying what you're doing. And that guy, I tell you, loves what he's doing. And I'm attracted to that passion in people. Because if you get to do what you want to do and enjoy doing what you're doing, the end of the equation becomes the money. That's the end of it. It's not the focus going in. So do what you love doing as often as you possibly can, and the money will follow.
Yeah.
That's what's worked for me.
Yeah, I believe that pointing yourself in a direction. How do they quote it? They say the desire, the hunger, the
drive.
No, it's the greed, right?
Right, sure.
Greed is evil, right?
Sure.
And we've seen it in our business. We've made a lot of money, and we've seen people who become greedy, and all they do is pursue money.
Where they say pigs get fat,
money becomes their god.
Hogs get slaughtered. Yeah,
money becomes their god.
Sure.
And those people, I see them. Sometimes they have a little bit of short-term success, but I always see them, and they live miserable lives.
Sure.
But when like for me and you, I mean, our kids are everything, our wives are everything. Sure. And we've talked about this the last couple of days. When you choose, this is my direction in life, all money does is enhance it.
Sure.
And,
Sure.
you know, I mean, I love my life.
Sure.
I love my life.
Sure.
But people who chase money, and it's an interesting concept because it's this relationship. Healthy. We have some friends, and Scott and Bethany Palmer, and they wrote a book about the 5 money personality types.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the relationship with money. And I think, you know, I've never, for some reason, I've always been one of those people. I just never really worried about money until I thought it was a problem.
Yeah.
And then when I thought it was a problem, I chased it.
Yeah.
And when I chased it, I made some money, but I was unhappy. And then when I decided I was going to live in this passionate life, this passionate direction, that this is what I was going to do, then life started to fall into place. So, I mean, you've ridden a lot of cycles.
Sure. No, I have. I've been up, I've been down, I've been, it's funny. A friend of mine said to me one time, it's all relative. He said there's a billionaire who's going, last month I had 10 billion and now I've only got 7. And then there's a guy, he's like, last year I had 1.4 million and now I've only got 750 grand. He said, and then there's some poor son of a gun who's sitting there on Skid Row and he's going, last week I had $5 and now I'm only down to $3. So it's all relative. It's fear of not getting what you want and fear of losing what you have. And if that fear is the drive around money, it doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. I mean, you just hit the nail on the head. I've been in unsecured debt and my house in pre-foreclosure, and I've lived the rough road, similar to you. But today it's like, be of service, go out and do good work, right? Make sure everybody is a winner. Don't be greedy. Don't it's all my money again. Stop it. Share, give away more, give away, and it comes back to you tenfold.
Because we buy a lot of foreclosures, properties that are foreclosed on. One of our philosophies is treat the people in the house better than anybody else could ever treat them.
Sure, they're your client.
And if we do that, we found our process much easier. What's your one of my stories, one of my money stories is, it's funny when you look back, you see things that you don't see today, right?
Sure.
And
Hindsight,
right?
Right.
My father-in-law couldn't stand me when he first met me, right? He just couldn't
What
fathom.
was wrong with him?
Couldn't fathom this young guy who didn't have a job, right? When I met his
Ninja,
daughter,
no income, no job.
I didn't think
right?
about that, right? Because it was in my first year of owning my own business. I met my father-in-law, and he's probably trying to figure out what the hell is this guy doing, right? Life coaching, business coaching, success coaching,
what does that mean,
real estate
right?
coaching.
Where do you go to
flip
work?
Houses, like
right. Where do you go to work?
And I'm thinking about a guy, who's invested in real estate during his life, but worked 25 years for the government, right?
Sure.
Has a consistent, steady income, and he's thinking to himself,
a nice retirement plan.
What's this guy? How's this guy going to provide in a household with my daughter? And then I think back about and reality is, I remember, here's a good funny one. We had a mutual friend, my wife and I, when I was dating her, and years later we went to dinner and we're talking about real estate, talking about what I did, and he's like, really, I really never had any idea what you did. I wondered if you dealt drugs or what, because you drove a decent car and you never went to work and those kind of things. I'm like, man, people's perspective is pretty crazy. What's one of your money moments where you're like, oh yeah, things are a little different than the way people might have seen
That's easy. So I tell this story often, right? My dad, back home in England, right? He just a worker, right? He was a working man's working man. And he always said to me as a kid, you don't ever quit a job until you got another one. Be a man among men, a worker among workers. After 45, 50 years, I'm going to go into my London accent, after 45, 50 years, you probably won't be able to own a house or a car. You might have a wife and a couple of kids. Then you'll die and they'll give you a gold watch. That's about it, mate. And that was like his retirement plan. So fast forward, 20 years later or whatever, I came over when I was just a young gun, 20 years old. Fast forward, I flew my wife, my dad and his wife over from England first class. We stayed in an 8,000 square foot house on vacation in Maine. And then I flew my father and his wife with me down to Austin, Texas. I was training down there. We had maybe 150 people. And my dad started picking up on this energy, right? And I'm going into the nice restaurant with him. And as I go in, the guy's like, hey, you're Dave from Flippin' Boston, love your show. And the waitress knew me. And, not ego-based. It was just kind of cool. And I remember my dad looking at me. And as we're walking out of the it's going to choke me up. As we're walking out of the hotel, I'm walking a couple of steps ahead of his wife, so it's just me and my dad. And he turns around, he looks at me, and he goes, I'm not exactly sure what it is you're doing over here in America. And he looked at me, he gets a little tear in his eye. He says, but I tell you what, son, whatever it is, keep on doing it, because it looks like it's working. You know what I mean?
I'm sure there might have been an English cuss word in there.
Yeah, there was maybe just one. There was maybe one. And then after that, he it's funny, he bought a house. And I was able to help him buy a house back there in England. And I went and visited, and I'm like, what do you want for a housewarming present, Dad? And I'm thinking he wants, maybe a potted plant or some cookies or something. He looks at me and he goes, I'll tell you what, boy. He goes, I wouldn't mind a new kitchen. I said, all right, Dad, we'll get you a new kitchen. So those are blessings. Like that, those are money related. Once you've got it, you can do that stuff when the opportunity arises. And, I am my father's son in the sense that, like you, we work. It's not anything more than that, but we work smarter today rather than harder. So that's my money story on it, brother. That's for sure.
I remember when I was an executive recruiter, which was my only job as an adult.
Yeah.
The guy who was in charge of the entire, it's $1 billion company in charge of the whole thing. He flipped me in the forehead because I've been working like 60, 80 hours a week, and he's like, when are you going to stop being so stupid and start effing and listening to me? And I'm like, 24 years old, and this is, the guy, and I'm like, all right. And I just surrendered. And I went to a 35-hour work week doing exactly what he told me, and it worked. It might not have worked, but at some point in time, working hard burns you out.
Sure.
And I don't know how many of you out there are like me, but I felt like I worked way too hard for what I was getting back.
Sure.
And it's the investment into the right actions, not just into action, and it's consistency. So,
it's being teachable, man. It's being teachable and accepting that there's a different way of doing things. You know what I mean? I worked 120 hours a week when I worked into a real estate training and education arena. 120, and I'm not exaggerating. Fire department was 48. I worked construction on my days off. I ran a small construction company with a couple of firefighters. So it was another 38, 40 hours. And then part-time in the evenings, I worked retail security with Stop and Shop. I was pot roast police. You know what I mean? So it was like I knew how to work hard, and I had to break down generations of misinformation to be able to be teachable and do the things that I do today, Nothing more exciting than getting on a plane, first class, flying across the country, meeting, hanging out with you again, and reconnecting and revisiting our relationship, getting to meet your team. I mean, I'm all jazzed up, man. I'm ready to go, kick some doors in again, because I'm not hanging around negativity. People will complain. I call it kryptonite, right? They got kryptonite, and I put on my Wonder Woman armbands. You ain't getting anywhere near this flipping guy. I'm telling you, dude. Boom, 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 boom.
Like he didn't say Superman. He said Wonder Woman.
Oh, yeah. Well, Superman don't wear the armbands. Wonder Woman got all that going on. I'm an equal opportunity.
One more time.
So don't be throwing any kryptonite my way, all right? You should get the
Absolutely.
Wonder Woman armbands.
Wonder Woman.
Just saying.
Well, that's our live for today. If you guys, have questions, you want us to talk about something in the future, whether it's Dave or this guy, we're going to be doing some collaboration. One of the things our people were asking for is some more information, some more knowledge base on flipping, some more information, some more knowledge base on East Coast real estate. And, one of the greatest experts in the world nationwide on real estate is Dave. And when they told me they needed it, I just picked up the phone and I just called Dave. Sure. I said, Dave, what are you up to? What is going on? He's like, he was telling me, and I was sharing with what we were doing with our investment funds. And Dave's like, well, let's see where we can synergize, where we can collaborate together.
It's this, right?
Yeah.
You can do that stuff over and over again.
Thank you for listening to the RAD Podcast, an exploration of wealth. For more information, please visit our website, www.raddiversified.com. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave us a review and let us know how we're doing.